Hi everyone, welcome back to GHT. So I have completed a 1 length cut on my client. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the process of putting in a square layer. So it's just a very basic square long layer into the hair. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to section off the top section. So from the top of the head to the top of the ear. On both sides. Okay, so we're left with that back section. So I'm going to start with a small section at the top of the head. So that's probably about 1/2 centimetre and about 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide at the top. So that's going to be my guide for the entire haircut. So I'm going to keep that nice and smooth. I'm going to pull up and then I'm going to decide how much I'm going to take off. So I'm going to take off a couple of inches and just have a couple of inches of layering through the bottom. I'm not going to cut a straight line, a straight blunt cut. I'm going to point cut in. So point cutting is coming in at an angle and cutting across that bit of hair. The point cut will give you a less blunt layer and it'll give you a nicer blend as it falls down. So, like I said, I'm moving the hair around, but I've got a nice firm grip on that through these 2 fingers. So it's not moving in any way, it's still the same bit of hair that I pulled up. So you can either cut from up here and point cut in, but if someone's got really long hair, you can, as long as you've got a nice grip on that, you can pull the hair back down and you can just point cut across. Okay. And that is my guide. My hair falls about here. So the next section you're going to take is about a 1/2 inch section down the middle of the head. So let's get all of this out of the way, comb that out of the way so you can see what you're doing nice and clearly. And you're going to pull all of that hair up, combing through from the root all the way through, and you're going to pull that hair up so it is square, so your hand is parallel with the top of that head. And I've got my guide there, you can see here, and I'm going to slide my fingers to the top. And a square layer means you are literally cutting a nice straight line straight across that haircut, following your guide. Again, I'm going to pull it down so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to point cut in again. And I'm going to let that drop. So now that's dropped, I've put a little bit of layering through there and it blends nicely from where it was layered down to the bottom. So next thing you're going to do is you're going to take 1/2 of that section that you've just cut . So I'm going to work my way to my right, and then you're going to take another 1/2 inch to 1 inch section down. And you can see that I'm not taking all of that hair, because when I finally comb this up, as I pull that up to the top, you'll see that some's dropping out anyway. And that's what you want. You want some of that hair to drop out, which will create that nice long layer. And you can see there's the bit I want to cut. So I've got a bit of a guide here and I've got a bit of a guide underneath. So again, I'm going to bring that down because I've got nice tension on the hair, and I'm going to point cut that line. So now I've got a decent amount done down the middle. I'm going to start coming across in orange segments, shaped pieces. So I'm coming from the point in the middle of the head and I'm coming down in orange piece sections. Again, so you start right in the middle of the head, orange piece segment, down the back of the head. You're going to pull that piece of hair out and up. You're not over directing it in any way, you're not pulling it this way, you're not pulling it that way, you're going straight out of the head and up. Again, some of that hair is going to fall out, so let's just let that fall out naturally. And then we're just going to cut following that guide that we can see through the hair. If at any point you stop seeing that guide, don't cut. You always want to be able to see what you cut previously. Again, you're going to pull directly out of the head, straight out from the head, and then up. And you're going to follow that guide, point cut in, and drop. Follow it around the head, pulling straight out, so now that is directly at me, and up. Letting that hair fall out naturally. There's a few pieces up there, I don't know if you can see that. Just going to point cut, so I'm coming in, down in and into an angle, and straight across. Finish off that with the last section. So, the closer you get to the ear, the less hair you have underneath. I'll come around to this side and I'll show you properly in a minute, but there's less hair underneath here because obviously the hairline comes up. So be careful not to create a hole in the haircut. So you need to make sure some hair falls out of your fingers. So I can't get round there now, I've got too much in the way. So you can change the position, your body position, and you can come round. So again, I'm pulling that straight out and up. Still some has fallen down, so I know I'm safe. I'm not going to create a hole in the haircut. And there's just a few strands I'm going to point cut away. And that is one side completed with a nice long square layer. Okay, so we're going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to do another one straight down the middle, just so I feel like I've got enough of a guide. So you pull straight out the head, making sure you comb from the root, and then you pull straight up. I can see my guide through there. I'm going to take the hair down, I can see my guide, and I'm going to point cut across. So I'm not doing a straight across cut, so I've got a nice feathered line so that it all blends a little bit nicer at the end. We're going to come round in an orange piece segment, making sure we've got some of our guide in. We pull that straight out, not over directing it in any way, and pull that section up, letting the hair fall out naturally. And there is the little bit of hair that I need to cut off. Another orange piece segment from the top, from that middle point, straight out and up. Hair falls out naturally. There's my bits of hair that I need to cut and point cut. Okay, so I'm going to do this section, I'm going to do 2 sections more. Straight out and up. There's the bit I need to cut and point cut that in. So what I was talking about before is obviously with these back sections you've got all of this hair underneath, which means you're going to have plenty to fall out, so you're not going to create a hole. But depending on how long that layer is, I've done a really nice long layer, so this won't affect it. But say maybe I cut off even more. Say I cut off that much, not enough hair is falling from here, which means you need to make sure when you do it that hair falls down so that you don't create a hole in the haircut here. So again, you're pulling out and straight up, change your body position if needs be, and there's just a few little hairs there that need to be point cut off. So let's check that haircut. So again, using my checking fingers, I'm going to put my fingers in about the same point, so across. When I look at that, it's pretty even, and I just bring my fingers down and I check the layering. And when I look, the layering is even on both sides. Now we're going to come through the side sections. So comb that down. You've got your guide from the back, so you're going to take maybe 1 centimetre from the side section, 1 centimetre from the back section, so you're getting almost an inch of hair. Again, you're pulling it straight out and then directly up, so your fingers are parallel to the head. Make sure you can see your guide underneath, and you're going to point cut that. Take a little bit from the front, take a little bit from what you just cut, pull up. Make sure you can see your guide and cut. Always making sure that you've left some hair down so you're not going to create a hole in the haircut. So I'm going to finish that off and I'll be back with you in just a sec. Obviously I wouldn't normally do this from the front, but because of the position of the station, I'm coming in from the front, but you would still do that from the back. Now I've put all the layering in through there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check that. So how I'm going to check the two sides are the same is that I'm going to pull up sections maybe 1 centimetre wide from either side of the parting. I'm going to pull that up. I'm just going to make sure that they're even across. And you shouldn't really get much difference. You might get a little bit here and there, but you shouldn't get too much. But all you have to do is point cut into it to check that haircut. And that is your square layer or long layer. If I'm really honest, I very rarely use this layering technique in the salon. I tend to blend it down a little bit more. If they are, you know, if they just want that little bit of thinning out through the bottom, a nice long square layer will work. But I tend to work around the head, making sure I've got a nice even layer all the way through. But this is a really good start to layering. So if you are new to layering, then start with this and build up from there. I hope that helped. If you found it helpful, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, subscribing to my channel, ringing the bell, and I look forward to your comments. See you again.